Good evening, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, I want to talk about gentrification. Is the Shoprite for sale? Also, I want to talk about the death of the 14-year-old. People have been talking about it. It's actually all over the internet. Aspiring drill rapper. Ever heard of drill music? I'm Freddie Vasquez. Join me on Basement Politics. Good evening, folks. I am Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Good afternoon and good morning, depending on what time you're watching. Tonight, gentrification. Is the Shoprite on Riverdale and Prospect for sale? And does it have anything to do with the controversial development that was approved on Hudson? Also, have you ever heard of drill music? Did that lead to the death of the 14-year-old boy on Saturday who just recently moved to Yonkers? Let's talk about it. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. I'm Freddie Vasquez. I wanted to come on. I was a little late because I was loading up some videos that I want to play here in a bit when I discuss the drill music. And, you know, drill music is something that's fairly new. It's a form of hip hop, and it's actually dangerous. It's been known to, leave many of the artists that have become successful in drill music dead, unfortunately. And it's sad. And it's sad when it's a 14-year-old boy. So I want to talk about that. But I want to talk about the gentrification also in the downtown area in Yonkers. Is the Shoprite for sale? Someone told me not to speculate, do I know the facts? Do we ever really know until it's actually happening? I mean, by that time, it's too late. We have to speculate and we have to investigate. And this is why I'm speaking about it. I saw a post on Facebook earlier in regards to the Shoprite on Prospect and Riverdale possibly being sold to developers. And that would present a huge problem, I think, for the people who currently live there, who rely on that Shoprite to find the best prices, and also for the proximity. Many elderly and those who do not have a form of transportation can easily walk there and go grocery shopping. I know I used to live in the area. I used to walk to that Shoprite. It was very convenient, especially on Sundays when we normally do grocery shopping, and I didn't have to move the car and lose my space. Right. So for people who don't have a car, which we would see a lot of elderly and other people with carts, it would impact them as they would have to travel further to find a grocery store that's going to have prices that are, the cheapest around, because that's why people go to Shoprite, the prices. Right. They will now have to rely either on the bodegas, which are usually, more expensive, or travel further, pay for a cab just to go grocery shopping. And I'm wondering if that has anything to do with the controversial development that was approved on Hudson Street. I spoke about that not too long ago, and maybe 2 months ago, maybe a month ago. I called it, if you want to go check it out, the Zoning Board 3. That was a project that was approved on Hudson Street, which is actually right behind the Shoprite, and it's a 25-story development that's going to be going up there. It used to be a daycare center on the corner there. So when that was announced, I and many other people wondered, was that the best place to put a 27-story building? Shoprite being right there, right next to that building, would be the loading docks for the Shoprite. And oftentimes you will see anywhere between, 1 and 4 trucks, tractor trailers, and sometimes they'll be coming in and out. And that causes traffic to kind of, form there, a line of cars just having to wait now for the truck to go in and out. And I would imagine the residents would not want to deal with that. So I wondered, and I said to myself, I wonder if they're going to get rid of the YMCA. And someone said, oh, they never get rid of the YMCA, but maybe they're going to get rid of the Shoprite. Is that what they're going to do? Is that part of that development that's going to be going up? Because as many people may not know, when you're building a development like that, you have to have a certain amount of parking spaces per units, depending on what type of development you're doing, whether it's market rate, affordable housing, or low income housing, or even senior development. You are supposed to, or you're required to have a certain amount of space for the units. For example, in a senior living, right, senior affordable housing, people, they assume that seniors may not be driving. They probably won't own a car, so they allow developers half a space per unit. So basically, for every 2 units, they have to have one parking space. With the market rate developments, it's a bit different. They actually have to have more, parking spaces, because they are assuming that people there are going to have more, possibly two, 3 vehicles, maybe even nowadays, right? So they have to make enough space. But where is the parking in that area, right? If they build a 25-story development there, where are the parking spaces going to be located that they're supposed to include? Is it going to be in the Shoprite? Is Shoprite going to be one big parking lot, or part parking lot and part luxury development soon? I guess if you were changing the area, if you were gentrifying the area, right, and getting rid of a certain group of people that maybe couldn't afford to have a car, it wouldn't matter to have a grocery store nearby, because the people would just drive their cars to wherever the grocery store is. Or maybe they might build some little small grocery store, which kind of, they have something like that by the pier now, which would be more expensive, but the people obviously would be of higher income, higher disposable income. So it wouldn't matter to them. So I guess if that's the plan, then it works. It works. We're getting the poor and the elderly out, who are on Medicaid and Social Security and stuff like that, then it works, right? Because a lot of people depend on that. So if that's true, and I just want to mention it, I haven't gotten all the way facts yet, but if it's true, we should start talking about it now. And why I mentioned the Hudson Street project being controversial, because it wasn't going to be originally approved by the zoning board. But that couldn't happen, right? You have a developer that already purchased the property with plans for a 27-story building in an area that's not allowed. Did they know it would be changed? I mean, did they know, and they were so confident because they knew that the people who would change it would go through such great lengths as to remove 3 of the senior members of the zoning board without even notifying them, until they received a letter in the mail 3 months later. One of them was the chair of the zoning board committee. Been there, I believe, over 30 years, maybe longer. Very knowledgeable and experienced, and did not want to approve it. And the other 2 also. However, I hear that a woman by the name of Wilson Kimball was very adamant that they changed the zoning laws there, to the point where they got rid of them without notifying them. They found out, how? By watching the new appointees be approved by the city council without asking one question as to why were the 3 senior most members being removed and replaced with a young buck, a young 20-some-year-old son of a real estate developer and investor. Why would they do that? Obviously, those 3 individuals had the best interest of the people of Yonkers in mind, the people of that area in mind, but others had the best interest of the developers in mind. Imagine that. You served on the board. It's a volunteer position, 30 years or more. I'm not sure if they served longer for 30 years. I know they've been there for a long time. I forget. And then all of a sudden, you're removed without even being told. You have to wait for a letter in the mail 3 months later to be officially told that you are no longer on the zoning board. Thank you for your services. right? And all that just to get that building approved. So why would they not sell the Shoprite? It would make sense. It would make sense. And why was Wilson Kimball involved in that? Isn't she head of Macy? Somebody was telling me about and I don't want to put it out there, but I'm going to look into it, some kind of Section 8 voucher type of shenanigans. And I want to look into that involving many of the apartments over there in the waterfront, those that had the mass evictions recently. But I just wanted to mention that because, yes, gentrification is happening. And I want to, highlight exactly who are the people that are no longer going to be really welcome, right? And it's sad to me because I spoke about this in a podcast, last podcast, the 4 women on the council, 4 Black women, 4 minority council members, one being the city council president. And I don't think that the Blacks and Hispanics are really being thought of. I mean, why would you guys not ask questions on that appointment? Not one of you said, why are they removing those 3 individuals to appoint them with some young guy? One of them was a young guy, young kid. He was like probably in his 20s. His dad owns 470 Nepperhan Avenue. You guys know about that? The building that's being rented by the city now after they owned it and sold it to Mr. Welcome Back Cotter. Joe Cotter owns the lot that the Lionsgate movie studio sits on. So why would they go ahead and just approve this appointment? The city council, all of them. I'm not asking one question as to why would you guys or we want to remove these 3 senior members to replace them with this young guy whose dad is going to tell him, vote yes on this, make sure you vote yes on that, for his own gain. Did you guys not think about it, Yonkers City Council? That's a problem. That's a problem. Basically, the zoning board is no longer looking out for the city and the residents. They're looking out for the developers. So they're going to be projects that are going to be approved that are not going to be in the best interest of the city for many reasons. But it doesn't matter. They're taking everything. Taking Trevor Park, which is, a largely Black community there. They utilize the Trevor Park a lot. The JFK Marina, that's going. That's going to developers. Are they going to give it back? And why are Black women on the city council okay with all that? Where's the voice and the advocacy for those that have been there who are probably not going to be there much longer? Or you guys over on Ravine and Woolworth over there, how much longer are you thinking to be there? They're buying all that up. They're planning on putting more movie studios there. It's going to change, and no one's saying anything about it. No one's saying, hey, council members, what's up with that? Where the people are going to go? Where are they going to go? A lot of people are going to have to be out of there. Where are they going to go? So I in my last podcast, I kind of, went on a little rant at the end. I just was, I was talking about, the minority leaders, elected officials. People say, Freddie, you go after community leaders. No, I don't go after people to just, it's not about a personal thing. It's just about if you are holding a title, right? Or you claim to be a community leader or whatever, then I'm going to hold you to what you say. Right? And I'm going to say, hey, so what are you doing? What are you guys doing exactly for Black and Latinos? Again, how are their situations improving? How are you helping to improve their situations? Because what it seems like is a lot of them are just being kicked out, being uprooted. having to leave. You guys don't seem to care. If they're going to take away the Shoprite, a lot of, Hispanic and blacks depend on that Shoprite. That's the majority of the people who go there. Many walk. They have no choice. They don't want to pay for a cab. So they buy their carts and they walk. Do you care about them? I'm just saying. Well, I'll look into it further. I did ask around. I didn't get any, feed or answers back in regards to, is it going to be sold to developers, the Shoprite, the Prospect in Riverdale? I think that's important to know. A lot of people depend on that. So I wanted to talk about drill music. I don't know how many people know about drill music. Recently, a 14-year-old boy died or was killed on a subway platform in Harlem, actually, 137th Street. The boy had moved to Yonkers, I believe, with his family. He's originally from Harlem area, I believe, and was an aspiring drill rapper. Drill music is a form of hip hop that's very, violent, I guess. I'm going to show you a little bit, some clips, very aggressive. I was showing it to my wife. My wife, the social worker, psychologist, therapist, and all that. She always analyzes everything like that. And she says, they seem very angry, very traumatized. And this music probably feels good for them to release it, but it's not in a positive way. But the release does feel good. So she, saw it that way. And I get it. So I want to play some of that. I want to show you. And I'm going to show you the boy in particular. It's sad. I shares the name with my son. His name was Ethan Reyes, 14-year-old boy, 14-year-old Latino boy, Ethan Reyes. Many of our Latino and Black youth are getting caught up in, unproductive, dangerous, illegal, deadly activities. And not because they're bad. I don't want to say they're bad people. I don't want to say, anyone deserves anything like that. Never. They're misguided. Sometimes they're just not guided. Many times they're just not guided. And so when we talk about abortion, and not to go back to that, right? We don't talk about other issues such as, proactive solutions, right? Getting ahead of the curve, right? In front of the 8 ball, so to speak, and reaching out to the kids young and helping them get on a path, because we know that many do not have a traditional home, mom and dad, especially in the Latino and Black community, especially here in Yonkers. It's a fact. And this is what upsets me, that we don't talk about that. Because that's what we need to talk about. That's where the change is going to happen. Right? But they don't. Talk about other. It's not going to help this 14-year-old boy who got stabbed. Wasn't going to change his life. Some of the things that they're talking about, a lot of things that these elected officials are focused on. Got a 15-year-old boy in jail now. 15-year-old Black boy in jail, a 14-year-old Latino boy dead. And what are they doing? And there's music like this, drill music, right? So they talk about canceling music and stuff like that, right? Or canceling people. They need to cancel this. They need to cancel this form of music. I want to show you, it's a shop right there, actually, that they're looking possibly selling. So I want to show you this. This is some clip I got from the YouTube. Apparently, he's very popular. I mean, a lot of people, liked his music. He got a lot of views on his Instagram page. He had one video that had almost 900,000 views. Again, his name was Ethan Reyes, and he went by Nadi Osama.
The 14-year-old boy fatally stabbed on a Manhattan subway platform was an aspiring drill rapper, a genre of hip-hop that a grieving relative believes played a tragic role in his death. Ethan Reyes, who rapped under the name Nutty Osama, got into a dispute with a 15-year-old assailant outside the 137th Street City College station in Harlem Saturday afternoon. The argument spilled into the station, where Reyes was stabbed in the abdomen. The 15-year-old, who goes by the name K. is allegedly the perp. Though rushed to Mount Sinai Morningside Hospital, Nutty could not be saved. He just got caught up in the street life type stuff, said the teen's cousin. He just so happened to take a route in a style of music that ends up with art turning into violence. Police used MTA surveillance footage to track down his teen attacker, who was bleeding from the back and abdomen, cops said. He was treated at an area hospital and then charged with murder and criminal possession of a weapon. Ethan Reyes, 14, was stabbed at the 137th Street City College station in Harlem around 3 p.m. Saturday. One source said there were teenage girls who might have rushed to take Nutty's phone. Not sure if that's true yet. As for Nutty, would have taken the route of a pop singer or any other style of art or music, he would have been super successful.
So he went by Nutty, and he was an aspiring drill rapper. And you see the drill rap music, and I'm gonna show you another video. There, it's very heavy in aggression, And again, I was talking to my wife, and she said, it's they're releasing that anger and aggression that and I know about that as a young kid growing up in the hood, so to speak, quote unquote, the hood. I had a lot of aggression myself. Right? There's things that we're just angry about. Whereas my dad, I mean, for me, that was my issues, my pain, my hurt, and that translated into anger. And so, maybe that's how certain, they like this because they release, that anger and aggression. And I'm gonna show you another video here.
Rapper out of Harlem, basically in New York, man, was killed on
lost in what neighbors are calling a senseless act of violence.
Too much and too often.
Police say the 14-year-old victim was on the northbound platform inside the 137th Street City College train station when he was stabbed once in the abdomen. One witness who didn't want to show his
Hey man, you know what's going on? We got to talk about this situation with this rapper named Nutty Osama, up and coming rapper out of Harlem, basically in New York, man, was killed on the one train platform in Manhattan when he was stabbed, man. It's a crazy story. We're going to get right into it and everything that caused it.
So it's very braggadocious, showing off the money, showing that you're the toughest, a lot of gang signs. It's, a lot of, individuals that get into drill music are part of gangs. It's kind of a gang type of music, and it was started in Chicago, where a lot of the kids there are killing each other all the time, every day over gang stuff. And in this music, they even talk about it in the music. And what concerns me here is I'm going to show a video, right? I found this video about some kids. They were doing, I guess, a FaceTime, three-way type of FaceTime. And they're talking about this young boy and making fun of his death, right? And saying why he got killed and that, his brother better watch out. And I hope the family, I'm sure they may be aware of these threats. It's dangerous when you involve yourself in gangs. And many of, our youth are involved, especially those who grow up, in rough neighborhoods and impoverished neighborhoods, Black and Latinos. So I want to show that video now because, this is what the music is about. They talk about each other. They brag about, doing things to each other, harming each other. They call each other the ops, right? If you're the enemy, you're the op, the opposition. So the drill music, again, a lot of the songs are really just about their oppositions, their enemies, another group of kids, another, set of gang, another gang. And then many times because they brag about it on the internet, they end up getting arrested for it. They end up getting charged for various crimes based off just what they said on the internet. And so I want to show this video because, again, these guys right here seem to know him, and they seem to be making threats that, and poking fun at what happened. And This is part of the culture, because this is not unique just to these individuals. This is actually what happens in this genre or this style of music throughout the country of those who engage in it.
Boy got left in Nah, real nigga shit though. I'm penning this. We got another little boy in the blood. Word, like I'm penning this, bro. Stop.
He said, I got another little boy put in this blunt. So that's an insult in this genre of music and drill music, right? They say, oh, you got smoked, so they're smoking you in a joint or whatever. So that's a form of insult. And they take that very seriously, actually.
Don't be next. Stop, yo. Oh, y'all niggas, yo.
So he makes a threat here to the brother.
Oh, y'all niggas to my dick. And I'm smoking y'all stay home,
y'all. He said, little D-Dot, stay home. And that's a threat, I believe, to the brother.
Niggas to my dick. And I'm smoking y'all stay home, y'all. Yo, Roscoe don't be next. They looking for his ass. Roscoe lucky. And Roscoe lucky niggas let him live in the store. Yeah, them niggas be hiding. Them little niggas better go home. They better chill out. When I was young, you know what I was doing? I used to play ball. Fuck, I used to read books. Yo, Muddy, you know, I used to play ball, man.
So they're talking about him being out there, being in a gang and being young.
Bro, this cool.
Niggas trying to be rappers out here.
Whoa, bro. Like, what's
Get an education first.
Look at him now. He can't. He can't. You know why?
Yeah. Now, look, doing this, got your little mans in this.
So what he says there, right? And I know a lot of people may not understand what they're talking about there and stuff like that. So basically, he threw up gang signs, and one of the gang sign was a gun, and the other one was the sign of that gang. And he said that what got you killed was doing a lot of that, which means pointing. When you point the gun with one hand, you make a gun sign with one hand, and you make the sign of a certain gang with the other. That basically means I'm going to kill that gang or kill somebody in that gang. Somebody in that gang is going to die. So what he's saying here is that doing too much of that got him killed, right? So it's the gang activity, and they're making fun of it. And he said it got him killed and then got him put in here, and he points to the joint. Because again, that's very big and it's extremely petty. This is what's sad about this. They're dying over the most pettiest, smallest, and not that any really thing is worth dying, but this is so petty. Simple words. And this is what I was saying the other day on my podcast. You know, I want to see, you know, Black and Hispanic leaders stand up more and start to speak out about this. Start saying, hey, you know what? That's not okay. It's not okay to diss another individual, especially another Black person, another Hispanic person, and start, you know, going after each other, killing each other. That's not okay. We have to change that mentality. And who's doing that? Who's stepping up? And I'm not saying that there aren't some organizations in the streets here, but we need voices that can amplify the message saying it. Voices like Jamal Bowman, Congressman Jamal Bowman, right? I would love for him to say that. A strong Black successful man stepping up and saying, hey, guys, this is not okay. What are we doing here? We're killing each other over gang signs. We thinking it's funny that when someone dies, they're being extremely disrespectful to this boy who was killed. So, and the point I you know, why I stress that is because it shows the lack of empathy. And that's a problem. Kids are lacking empathy these days. And I was telling my wife that I grew up in, you know, in a time when it was rough, the late 80s and 90s, but it's different now. It seems really more hateful, like, and just no care, no compassion at all. And they just want blood. They just want you dead. And so that's what the music is primarily about. And it's very aggressive. It's almost like they're shouting and screaming, and, you know, and you really can't understand it, you know, and it's because a lot of these young men, young boys, I should say, are angry. They are. They're angry. A lot of them are growing up, again, in untraditional homes. Their father's not there. It's not around. Some of them don't know their father. And I know people who don't really know their father, haven't seen them since they were a baby in diapers. And I often think to myself, what does that do to them? What are the, individuals who have gone through that or have that experience think, and I was, without my dad in the home, but I did get to see him, my dad would be around. So I knew where he was. Well, there were nights where I would go to bed where I didn't know where he was. And that was traumatizing for me. I would cry in my bed wondering where's my dad because, my mother didn't let him in the house, and he was, abusing drugs and she didn't want him to come in the house like that. And I didn't know where he would go. And I would cry at 6 years old. I remember that very vividly. Right. So that's trauma. So I had that trauma and I still do. And I was very angry. As a kid, I was very angry. My wife says I should have got some therapy for some of the things that I did. I primarily got in trouble for fighting in school. Right. But I never, thank God, took it to a level where I felt the need to ever kill someone or, think that was something I should do. But many young kids are doing that these days and they think that it's cool. And this music that's being pushed and promoted by individuals who are making millions and millions of dollars while these young, influential and impressionable young kids are being killed or destroying their life by killing someone. At very best, they just don't do anything with their lives. And so many aspire to be rappers. It's difficult to be a rapper. But oftentimes they don't see any other way out. They don't have any other skills, but they can create a rap. They can talk about, their neighborhood, or they can, really over dramatize it, at least until they have to make it real. And sometimes it gets real, as you see, with the 14-year-old boy. And I just always wonder, like, how do we change that? I used to have that style too. I used to, in a way, have some of that mentality, but I realized that. And for me, at least I can say what changed that for me was getting out of my environment. Being put into an environment where everybody looked at me, the young kids my age, my peers, like, that's not cool, dude. I don't know where you're from, but that's not cool, And so that made me start to really realize I need to, and I knew I wanted to be successful somehow, but I didn't really know how until I got out of my environment. I was presented with opportunities, resources, guidance. So again, I look to a lot of the Black community. I'm sorry, I should say a lot of Black elected officials and Hispanic, Latino elected officials to really do more for the Black and Hispanic youth, for all youth. And again, I hate to make things about color, but I want to talk about a demographic that needs more support. They need more support. Okay, we have to address the fact that 75% of our kids are living at or below the poverty line, and the majority of them are Black and Hispanic. And what do you, the elected officials? It's great to have Black and Hispanic elected officials. That's wonderful. But what does that mean? What does that mean for the Black and Hispanic community? Exactly. Right. So I want to see just a real big campaign, a real big, just, this thing where we just start to say, hey, okay, guys, let's make this noise. Look at us. Come over here. Let's go and engage youth that are in the neighborhoods, that are standing around, that are unsure what to do, that don't have guidance, that are looking for something, because they are out there. They're all over Yonkers, just looking for something to do. Something productive, looking for an opportunity. Right? And you can set up these programs and stuff, and it's cool, but what's the results? What's the intended goal? I want to know the logistics. You know, like for me, it's like a business. Like, okay, the goal is to produce successful Black and Hispanic people. Okay, right? In a way, I treat it like a business, right? That's quote unquote, not to call a human a product. I'm just saying, but that's the result that I want. So how do we get there? What are we actually doing to get there? Because the numbers are not changing. So all this money that's been spent on these programs that have been operating are not impacting anything. So what are we doing? I know it's not easy. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we have to start to think differently, think outside the box, be creative, because we need to get it going. We need to see this change so that when gentrification and developments of market rate apartments come into a neighborhood, Blacks and Hispanics are not the first ones pushed out. They're not the ones that are left behind. And maybe they can even be involved in the development. Maybe they can be a developer. Yeah, guess what? You could be born in Buena Vista after being born in a jail, raised in Buena Vista, and be a developer. Develop the neighborhood. Forget owning the building there. Now you develop the neighborhood, right? But we didn't even get to the stage of owning the neighborhood or owning one of the buildings in the neighborhood. We're still there renting generations after generations. So I don't know what you guys brag about. I'm serious. I'm just saying. Like, I'd be on a mission. Again, that's just me, and maybe I'm naive and I don't know nothing. Because I just need to see more. And we see this, and it's very sad. We see kids constantly getting in trouble, getting killed. I was just talking to my cousin earlier today, a guy that we know was arrested for the third time, federal arrest. And that's it. He's like, basically everybody's like, he's done. A man with kids. And I understand that's on him. The kid's not going to have dad there. What does that mean for the kids? They already have a lot of other obstacles, right? And so what's going to happen? What? It's a cycle. It's a cycle of just poverty. It's a cycle of trauma. And that's not truly addressed. And so again, when I say something about the statue that they put over by the Apex, I'm not trying to insult the artist. It's not my goal. I'm just saying, what does that mean? In the end of the day, in the grand scheme of things, what does that mean? I'm just saying. 14-year-old still dying. Still in poor. We still poor. We still getting kicked out. They're going to take away the Shoprite. They're going to take away the JFK Marina. Remember all the stuff that went down there? They're going to take away Trevor Park soon. Nobody care about that? People who live there, who are not going to live there much longer once they develop a lot of that for those studios. You're going to wait till it's too late and 10 years have passed to blame the people that are here now facilitating that by approving appointments to zoning and planning boards of people that have no business on there, while removing knowledgeable and experienced people just to get whatever project approved. You guys are just going along with everything. Do you even understand what I'm saying? You understand? And I'm not talking about the people, I'm talking about the city council. Do you guys understand that you have to ask questions? Why would we remove these 3 senior guys from the zoning board to replace them with this young kid? Why? Is it because his dad is a real estate investor and developer? Did we get some kind of break on the rent over at 470 Nepperhan? I mean, why? No one asked. Not one. They don't care about nothing, but they don't care about any of that. They don't care about the young people, the youth. They don't care. I believe that. I truly believe that they truly don't care. And whatever little that they do is just for show. It's just for show, for fluff. There you go, whatever. I don't care. That's what I truly believe. I truly believe. I've been trying to, hey, guys, work with me. I mean, let me do the work, right? I'm willing to do it. But help me like you help those other guys. I'm just saying. Here's a guy from the neighborhood, from the community that we're trying to get kids up out of, who got up out of there with every obstacle in his way. Right? Who talks like he's white. Just kidding. That's what someone told me today. How do you do it? You're Puerto Rican, but you talk like you're white. What? It was funny though. It was all in fun. They weren't, trying to insult me. Right? I'm just saying. So we see what, the individuals that are elected now are all about. It's just all about developments, doing what the developers want, because they're going to write the checks when we do the fundraisers, so we can use in the next campaign, so we can get reelected, so we can tout accomplishments, sometimes that they didn't even do themselves, but you wouldn't even know that. Because I found out a few things that people had, took credit for that were not theirs, their achievements. I mean, you know how many people took credit for that $25 million that they got in addition for the school? I don't know how many years now ago that happened, but it still keeps coming up, right? You know how many people sat in front of me and said that was because of me? To me, I was like, really? I'm like, how many people are going to say this to me? Everybody. How many people took credit for it? I went up, then I got this $25 million for the school. Because of me, I got the $25 million for the Yonkers Public School. Where's all they going? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where did the $15 million for rental assistance go? For the rental assistance program go? That's what I mean. This Yonkers City Council does not ask a damn question, because they're not there to ask questions. So why would we vote any one of them in for mayor next year? Think about that, folks. Really. Who on that council? I'm just saying. And that isn't like, guys, cheers. Take another shot. To a love. I'm just saying. Right? Think about the districts that they represent. Some of them. And how they look. And that could be the entire Yonkers if they were to be mayor. I'm just saying. Right? You guys aren't even willing to help an individual that wants to really help. That's how bad it is. I'm out there getting pumps, fire hydrants fixed, helping locate missing family members, helping people get voucher hearings and stuff. Wonder how that went. Whatever happened? I didn't hear back from anyone. That was interesting. That was an interesting scenario. Maybe that person should give me a call. So anyway, I'm Freddie Vasquez, this interesting place that we live in called Yonkers, New York, that I actually love very much. But we need to change some things. And I agree, we need economic progress, absolutely. But how that economic progress is made is important. And that is where I think that I have a problem with, and many people also have a problem with, and how that progress is coming along. The traffic is horrible, horrible, horrible. Ashburton, Nepperhan, Yonkers Avenue, horrible, ridiculous. There's so much land around Yonkers for years just empty, right? I said that to a person one time. They completely ignored my message to them. I said, I find this was maybe a year or so ago. I said, all these lands, all these lots and stuff that were once empty and just, they were there forever. I mean, there was one lot where my dad would always walk by and point to the spray painting. He did a couple of letters there when he was a kid, and it was still there, this wall, right? And it was just a wall and then an empty lot. The buildings have been knocked down. It was like that forever. Now, I believe in my, from what I found in some research, King's Capital, they're developing in that corner. It's actually by the Shoprite, Prospect, and Buena Vista, right? There used to be a retaining wall there, actually, that my dad had spray painted all forever. I mean, almost all my life, that was always there. And then boom, now King's Capital is building a big development there. I think it's like 200 some units. Maybe it was 200 some units. A lot, yeah, about 200 some units there. So, I mean, it would make sense why they take that Shoprite out of there. I mean, these individuals are going to probably go to, like, the little Whole Foods and things like that. That's the type of, places they go to. So, and everything just went up for sale. Boom, 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 fire sale, everything. Boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, everything's being developed, all of it. Over there in Ashburn and in North Broadway in the corner there. That big lot that was just cleared, right? That was like, empty and stuff for forever, right? That's being developed now. Everything. So, it's like it just like a green light or a go button was hit and everything just got sold. Developers bought it up and they started to develop it, and boom, here you go. And it just seems like it's happening so fast without a lot of thought. Like the way they're just putting things down, like that 25-story building. The reason why the 3 individuals who got removed from the zoning board didn't want to approve it was because it didn't make sense there, right? The zoning board didn't allow for it. It was gonna, cause, massive, traffic, both for vehicle and foot traffic. You had the Shoprite docks there, right? So you got to remove the Shoprite. It makes sense. Like, honestly, anybody that, if you just really sit there and think about it, it's gonna go. It has to go. Anyway, for them to want to rip down the Shoprite, a major necessity to that community, yeah, absolutely, is unacceptable. Is there any politicians that actually care about the people they represent? I don't know. That's a great question. That's a great question. I've always said to my wife, I don't think that a person that truly cares about people will ever become a politician because, folks, let's just be honest. It's cutthroat. Politics is cutthroat. You can't trust nobody, not your relative, nobody, not even your wife. If you're in politics and you're married, can't trust anyone. So, you have to be a cutthroat person. You can't be a nice person. You can't. My wife said, maybe I should run for something. I said, yeah, okay, honey. They will, chew you up and spit you out. You know what I mean? And then I have to get involved and then it'd be a whole mess, right? So I'd rather not. I said, stay far away. Just do what you do. But it's very bad, so you have to be an individual that's very cutthroat, very aggressive, very, ambitious, very driven and willing to do, certain things. And I think that that's why we see a lot of individuals that we have that don't care about people. They don't date it because they only care about themselves many times. And that's a way to enrich yourself. Politics is a way to enrich yourself. Okay, you can make a lot of money in politics. People may not understand that, but there's ways, folks. Let's not be naive. Let's be honest. Like with the voter fraud and all that, folks. Please, I don't understand Democrats. This is how hypocrites some people are. I don't say all Democrats. I take that back. I don't say a certain Democrats that I've spoken to. They will explain to me exactly how voter fraud occurs here in Yonkers and Westchester, but they tell me that that the voter fraud on a national level that they're talking about is BS. Oh, voter, that's fake news. That's fake. That's a conspiracy. But you just explained to me how it's done in Westchester and in Yonkers. I mean, I don't get. So it can only happen in Westchester and Yonkers. Are we saying it can't happen, anywhere else? So, people just like want to believe what they want to believe nowadays. It's not even just, people just pick and choose what they want to believe. And everyone's just tailoring their reality to what they want, right? I guess that's what we live in. So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Everything's going for sale. There's a lot of traffic. That's what I'm saying. People are not really considering the amount of, traffic and population density that, the increase that we're going to see. And I think after a while, people are just going to get tired of it. They are. And so, I don't know how long that's going to last. And also, a lot of the people that are, there now, I think they don't want them there now. And that's why they did a lot of mass evictions. Because down there at the waterfront, it's not quiet. It gets crunk, as they would say in the South. Right, it gets really loud and stuff. And like I said, I walked down there with my family and people, smoking weed and whatever. I'm just saying, to each his own. Drinking alcohol, you see bottles of liquor, bottles of beer, Although recently they did do a little cleanup. But I mean, is that how it's going to be, or is it going to change, or are they going to just waiting for the, the super, wealthier people to come in and start to, really do stuff, and then, that's when it's really going to change, and then you're going to have the studios, and the actors are going to come in, and they're going to buy apartments near the studio and stuff, and right, and it's going to be a little tinsel town of Yonkers. Is that what's going to happen? Right, and really, I mean, most of us are going to be out of here, right? The 75% of the student body that are impoverished, that are living at or below the poverty line, will no longer be here. They're going to be somewhere else. Anyway, folks, yeah, as Freddie Vasquez, I just wanted to talk about, the gentrification and this about the 14-year-old, because honestly, I just, it saddens me that we have elected officials that, are Black and Hispanic, and I hold them more accountable. I do. I know there's other ones, but them, and it doesn't seem like they're, just have a special, at least, concern, or a little extra consideration for your people, especially when the numbers are not changing. The number of poverty, the rate of poverty is not changing. The rate of abortion, right? We could talk about abortion, and I just get upset. And, again, and I'm not a Republican. I just get upset that we don't talk about how to reduce the need for abortion. 37% are Black women. 17% are teenagers. No one's saying, hey, how do we reduce that number? Everyone's just saying, oh, they want the right to have an abortion. They should have it. That you're a woman hater, or you want to take away women's rights, or you're like, well, no, I'm just saying, like, how do we, be proactive? Because even if a girl goes through an abortion, and since 17% are teenagers, right, that's a traumatic experience for them still. So I'd rather say, hey, let's not even have them go through the traumatic experience. Yeah, it's great, I guess, that they have the option to, right, if it happens, but let's just prevent it altogether by educating, empowering, providing resources and opportunities, understanding the demographic, the population that you're working with, and what exactly the needs are. Because it's more than just, what are they providing? Testing the Hudson River for bacteria, kayaking, or going on nature trail walks. I mean, I don't know anybody on Riverdale where I lived is going to be like, yeah, I'm down with it. Yo, let's go on nature trail walk and test the Hudson River and see if it got a lot of bacteria in it. No, they rather still on the block and chill there and see what's going down. Right? So how do we engage them and get them to be, responsive to something that's going to help them change their life? I mean, ultimately, obviously, people have to, put in the effort, but let's give them something worth putting the effort in. I ain't want to do that crap y'all be offering. Got people juggling and stuff like they clowns. Get out of here. I'm Freddie Vasquez. Thank you, folks. I'm up out of here. So, you guys, the Black elected officials, you guys are going to bear the most responsibilities 20 years down the line, right? History is not going to be kind to you. You guys are just allowing your own community to get ripped off. Bottom line. I'm Freddie Vasquez. Have a good night.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
I am Freddie Vasquez. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for watching. We have to do something about this youth violence. It's getting out of hand. I mean, we can cancel things like Donald Trump. We can cancel things like, what else they cancel? Quote unquote, whatever the fake news is. Why don't they cancel things that are detrimental to our youth? Like a form of music that promotes and encourages violence and takes our young kids who are very impressionable. This young boy, very talented, 14-year-old Latino boy, unfortunately, he was murdered by a 15-year-old African-American. 2 lives destroyed, 2 lives with great potential. It could have been anything. Where did we go wrong in this society? What are we not doing right? And I say we bear the responsibility because it takes a village. I'm Freddie Vasquez. Have a great night.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
I was raised in housing. I don't think you were.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
I was raised in housing. I don't think you were.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez. You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddie Vasquez.
Freddie wins. Fatality. Freddie.
No!
Are we? Let's make it happen, guys. Make me happy today. Are we? Let's make it happen, guys. Make me happy today. The hopes that the people will follow them, it's not working. The hopes that the people will follow them, it's not working. So that my competition, the guy who always talks about me, the hopes that the people will follow them, it's not working.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
So that my competition, the guy who always talks about me and say awful things about me, he will not have a problem benefiting because he doesn't cover. He only talks trash. We are the real McCoy. So that my competition, the guy who always talks about me, the hopes that the people will follow them, it's not working. That's a lot of stars. That's a lot of stars. We are the real McCoy. That's a lot of stars. Are we? Let's make it happen, guys. Make me happy today.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
The hopes that the people will follow them, it's not working. So that my competition, the guy who always talks about me and say awful
Freddie
things about me, he will not have a problem, guys.
Fatality.
An optical illusion that people are following him. The truth is, nobody is. The truth is, nobody
wins. Fatality.
An optical illusion that people are following him. The truth is, nobody is. The truth is, nobody cares. The truth is, most people in Yonkers think that he's a mentally unstable. We are the real McCoy. And guess what? Numbers don't lie.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
So that my competition, the guy who always talks about me, los que hablan español, mande unas estrellitas para nosotros. Benefit him. Because he doesn't cover. He only talks trash. Los que hablan español, mande un benefit him. Because he doesn't cover. He only talks trash. Los que hablan español, mande unas estrellitas para nosotros. He only talks trash. The hopes that the people will follow. So that my competition, the guy who always talks about me, that's a lot of stars. So that my competition, because he doesn't cover. That's a lot of stars. Los que hablan español, mande unas estrellitas para nosotros. That's a lot of stars. Los que hablan español, mande unas estrellitas para nosotros. That's a lot of stars. Los que hablan español, mande unas estrellitas para nosotros. Are we? Let's make it happen, guys. Make me happy today. That's a lot of stars. Are we? Let's make it happen, guys. Make me happy today.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
Are we? Let's make it happen, guys. Make me happy today. The hopes. That's a lot of stars. That's a lot of stars. That's a lot of stars. Hopefully, we're going to get to 3,500 stars. When I get there, I will be happy.
Freddie wins. Fatality. over.
No!
Sure that my competition, the guy who always talks about me and say awful things about me, he will not have a problem, guys.
Let's get it popping.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
That's a lot of stars. 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 Are we? Let's make it happen, guys. Make me happy today. Los que hablan español, mande unas estrellitas para nosotros. Are we? That's a lot of stars. Are we? Let's make it happen, guys. Make me happy today.
Freddie wins. Fatality. Over.
No!